Hello everyone, welcome again. Today in this video I'm going to share a new topic, that is algae, and I will tell you about the main features of algae and the characteristic of algae. So in this video I will tell about only the main points. These are 14 points in this video I will tell you, and what is the definition of algae, which is very simple definition, and the term algae is given by whom. So all these things I will tell you about in this video. So firstly started with the point, that is, what are algae? Algae are basically the chlorophyll containing primitive plants. These are the primitive plants which contain chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a pigment which help in the process of photosynthesis, and with the help of photosynthesis algae can make their own food. So these are chlorophyll containing primitive plants. And the term algae was first introduced by Linnaeus in 1753. Linnaeus is a you heard about the name of Carolus Linnaeus. So he was the first, he was a biologist, and Linnaeus gave the term algae in 1753. Now, algae, what is the study of algae? We can say that study of algae is called phycology. Logy related to word study and phyco related to word algae. So phycology is the term which is used for the study of algae. I think this video is not as much visible, so please listen carefully about all the things which I am going to tell you. So who is father of phycology? Frisch is the father of phycology. Phycology is basically the study of algae, and father of Indian phycology is M.O.P. Iyer. So M.O.P. Iyer is Indian father, Indian phycologist of phycologist father, and father of phycology in world is Frisch. So I will tell you about the main points of these algae. What are algae? So starts with the point one by one. First point is that algae found in both fresh and marine water. These are the plants which can exist everywhere in fresh and marine water. In both type of water, these algae are present. And these, second point is that these found in many forms, like they can be filamentous in structure, filaments like a thread in structure, or they can be colonial. Many algae can form a colony. And algae, next point is that algae are surrounded by mucilaginous sheath. Mucilaginous sheath means that they are covered with a sticky substance, and below the sheath cell wall is present. Means there is a cell of algae, and cell wall is present outside the cell wall, and outside the cell wall there is a mucilaginous sheath. So from outside to inside, the order is mucilaginous sheath, then cell wall, and then cell of algae. And from inside to outside, the sequence is inside the cell, and then cell wall, which covers the cell, and then there is a mucilaginous sheath. So algae are surrounded by mucilaginous sheath, and below the sheath cell wall is present, which is made up of cellulose and pectin. These substances help in the formation of cell wall of algae, but mainly cell wall is made up of cellulose, galactans, mannins. All these are oligosaccharides, or we can say monosaccharide, we can say type of carbohydrate, and minerals like CaCO3, calcium carbonate. So this is a mineral which makes the sheath of cell wall. Now the fourth point is that on the basis of structure, algae are thalloid. Thalloid basically are those plants which do not have differentiated root, shoot, and leaves. So plant body not differentiate into root, stem, and leaves. Tissue system is also absent in algae, and vascular tissue also absent. Vascular tissue basically xylem and phloem, which help in the we can say transport of water system, or transport of food. Phloem help in the transportation of food, and xylem help in the transportation of water. So vascular tissue also absent in algae. Algae is only a thalloid structure which is mainly flat over the surface of soil, and they do not have root, stem, and leaves. They mainly in algae, tissue system is also absent. Tissue is basically a group of cells of same origins. So on the basis of nutrition, fifth point is that on the basis of nutrition, algae are phototrophic. Phototrophic means they can use light for the synthesis of their own food. So algae can then algae are autotrophic, means they can synthesize their own food with the help of light. That's why it is called photoautotropic. They have a plastid contain pigment which help in the photosynthesis. So they have a plastid in which photosynthetic pigments are present, like chlorophyll are present, and classification of algae is mainly based on these pigments like chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B. So all these different pigments are present in different type of algae, and on the behalf of that pigment presentation, algae can divided into green algae, red algae, brown algae. So all these are due to this pigment dividation. Chlorophyll A and beta carotene are universal pigment of algae, means in red algae, brown algae, and green algae. In all three type of algae, chlorophyll A and beta carotene are normally present, but difference in another pigment like chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C. So all these different pigments are present in some algae and not present in another. So on the basis of that pigment system, algae are divided into different classes like chlorophyceae, rhodophyceae, and phaeophyceae. Next point is Algae Arthellophyta. This term was given by Andlicher. And next point is that in thellophyta means thallus containing plant. Male sex organs are called as antheridia, and the female sex organs are called oogonia. These are standard term used for the male sex organ and female sex organ. Antheridia for the male sex organ and oogonia for the female sex organ. Now sex organs are, especially in the female, a sex organ are unicellular, means they are made up of only one cell and they are jacketless. They are not covered with any jacket, in which sterile cells are present and different neck canal cells are present. So in sex organs are unicellular and jacketless, or layer of sterile cells are also absent in sex organ. As we move from the lower plant category to the higher plant category, we see that sex organs are well developed, but in algae, because it is at the lower category, so in the algae, sex organs are unicellular and not as much well developed as in the kingdom Plantae or in Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, or we can say Gymnosperm and Angiosperm, all this. So sexual reproduction in Thellophyta is isogamous and Ugamus. So 10th point, describe the sexual reproduction types in algae. So it can be isogamous, means in which both gametes are of the same size, and in isogamous means in which the both gametes are not same in size. They are different in their structure, morphology, and they fuse with each other and then they form a new zygote. Now oogamous is basically, we can say, in this egg cell is large in size and sperm cells in small in size. So gametes are different in nature. Egg cell are non-motile and sperm cells are motile in nature in oogamous. So different type of sexual reproduction are present in Thellophyta, or we can say in algae. Now next point is this, so complexity in sex organ, means the behavior of sex organ is very complex in algae. And as we move from the chlorophyceae, then phaeophyceae, and then rhodophyceae. Basically chlorophyceae is green algae, phaeophyceae is brown algae, and rhodophyceae is red algae. So as we move from the green algae to the red algae, the advancement in sex organ increases. So red algae have a much more advanced sex organ, and they show very complex behavior in their structure, or we can say in their nature. Sexual reproduction takes place through zygotic meiosis. As we all know that after the zygote formation, there is formation of embryo, and then in the embryo different type of cells take part in formation of seed, and then fruit is formed. But in the algae, sexual reproduction takes place through zygotic meiosis. Zygotic meiosis means when egg cell or sperm cells meet with each other, then they form a zygote, which is diploid in nature, because egg cell and sperm cell are haploid in nature. And in the diploid zygote, there is meiosis division, means the chromosome number gets a half in zygote. There is no formation of embryo. The next point is embryo is not formed. So this is very unique feature of algae, that here only zygotes are present, in which zygotic meiosis occur and embryo is not formed in algae. And the last point is they show alternation of generation. Alternation of generation means there is a sequence in which haploid followed by diploid followed by haploid. So there is a nature of generation in which they can alternate their generation type, like it can be haploid to diploid and diploid to haploid. So different type of category included, different type of algae are included in this division, like some are like some are haplontic, some are diplontic, and some are haplodiplontic. Haplodiplontic means which follows both type of life cycle, so they show alternation of generation. So these 14 main points describe the nature of algae. There are many another point of algae, but I told you about the main important point of algae. So I hope this video will help you. This video was all about the algae term and the study of algae, what is called the study of algae, that is phycology, and who is father of phycology, and what are the nature of algae. So this was all about this. Thank you, friends.